Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. President Trump lashes out at London's mayor as he arrives in the United Kingdom. The trip surrounded by controversy, why many in London say they aren't happy about his visit.
Closing arguments set to this morning in a decades-old cold case murder trial. We'll be there to share what attorneys say to the jury before deliberations begin.
And will today be the day? The East Hills Mall is set to go up for auction after being postponed several times when the mall could have a new owner. This is Monday morning, June 3rd. And it is 6 a.m. I'm Tabitha Mills in for Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher, and we're starting with some breaking news this morning.
Yeah, we want to update you now on that breaking news that we've been talking about all morning on the westbound Highway 58. CHP is on scene of a deadly solo car crash near Oswell Street on the off-ramp. This all happened around 4:30 this morning. We want to show you a live picture from the scene right now from our photojournalist, Mickey Van Horn. CHP tells us the man who was driving that car got onto the freeway from Fairfax Road, but that off-ramp is closed because of construction. The man drove his car down an unpaved stretch of road that hit a raised curb. CHP says that's when the car immediately burst into flames. Officers say the man died at the scene. Now, this is not affecting traffic at this time. First responders were there since the beginning of this crash. Since then, they have left the scene. In the meantime, you can now download our 17 News app to get breaking news and weather alerts sent straight to your phone. But again, this is not affecting traffic right there, and everything else around the county is also looking pretty good for your morning commute.
And hour by hour, starting out near 50 and then 70s this afternoon. I just have a slight chance of a thunderstorm developing. We'll talk much more about that in just a little bit. But first, we're going to send it back over to the news desk.
President Trump is in Britain this morning for his first official state visit. Air Force One touched down at London's Stansted Airport this morning at about 1 o'clock our time. Mr. Trump is only the third president the Queen has invited for a state visit, the other two being former Presidents George H.W. Bush and Barack Obama. This is President Trump's second visit to London since taking office. Minutes before the plane landed, President Trump posted two tweets attacking London Mayor Sadiq Khan. One reads in part, quote, Sadiq Khan, who by all accounts has done a terrible job as mayor of London, has been foolishly nasty to the visiting president of the United States, by far the most important ally of the United Kingdom. He is a stone-cold loser who should focus on crime in London, not me. Yesterday, Khan had this to say about the president's trip.
I don't think we should be rolling out the red carpet. I don't think this should be a state visit. And why do I say that? I think our closest ally is akin to a best friend. And the thing about a best friend is, of course, you stand shoulder to shoulder with them at times of adversity, but you've got to call them out when you think they're wrong. And there are so many things about President Donald Trump's policies that are the antithesis of our values in London, but also our values as a country.
The president's trip is accompanied by controversy. Many in London say they aren't happy about the visit and will have reaction from protesters and more on what we can expect to see during this visit. That's coming up in about 30 minutes.
It is 6:06 now, and severe weather continues to pound the Midwest. Floodwaters continue to rise in several states, and the Mississippi River has now breached, causing water to rush into the St. Louis area. Take a look at this drone video of the river bursting through the Pin Oak levee yesterday. Floodwaters are also flowing over the top of several sections of the levee that have not fully breached. People living in the area scrambled to evacuate. Emergency officials say the river is expected to stay at or above major flood stage through at least next week. More than 300 river gauges nationwide are currently at or above flood stage. 61-year-old Prentice Foreman is accused of killing Dawn Coons back in 1979. Her body was found naked in a bathtub with her hands bound and a pillowcase over her head. Police arrested Foreman in 2017 after investigators retested evidence from the crime scene and got a hit. 17 News will be in court this morning for closing arguments. It will be the last opportunity attorneys have to speak to the jury before deliberations begin.
A gruesome discovery in South Kern County. The sheriff's office is investigating a homicide after someone found a body just 2 miles outside of Mettler yesterday morning. CHP officers got a call about the body in the area of I-5 and South Sabodan Street. When When they got there, they found the body of an unidentified man. KCSO homicide detectives were called to the scene. No word on when or how the man died. Anyone with information on this case is asked to call KCSO at 861-3110, or if you wish to remain anonymous, call the Secret Witness Hotline at 322-4040.
It is 6:09 now, and it's not quite the Oscars, but it is close enough. Hundreds gathered for the 29th annual Beautiful Bakersfield Awards, hosted by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce on Saturday night. The annual gala recognizes the efforts made by individuals, businesses, and organizations every year that improve our local quality of life. This year, the Chamber recognized more than 200 nominees across 17 categories. Some of the winners included the Give Big Kern organization, Cody Teedy, who's raised thousands of dollars for the Bakersfield Ronald McDonald House through Cody's Pine Cones, and Portrait of a Warrior Gallery, which received the Chairwoman's Award.
I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry. I just am so thrilled that this community recognizes the sacrifice that was made by these boys. And that's why I'm crying, because we can't forget this, and you're showing us that you're not going to do that.
And our very own Maddie Jansen and Tammy Melchak emceed the evening's event. We streamed the awards live on our KGET Facebook page and website, and if you missed it, you can still watch it. All you have to do is just go to our Facebook page or website, kget.com, and click on the video. And congratulations to all the recipients.
Bakersfield truly is beautiful. Well, after being in the family for more than 100 years, the Bakersfield Californian has a new owner. The Morehouse family released a statement on the paper's website. The Morehouse family has owned the Californian for 122 years, but in a statement posted to the paper's website, the family says it's selling the Californian, other publications, and digital properties owned by their company, TBC Media. Sound News Media, led by Stephen Malkowicz, bought TBC Media, and he owns multiple newspaper properties in the U.S. and Canada. The sale is expected to be final June 30th. It's unclear what changes will come to the paper.
Well, is the fourth time the charm? The East Hills Mall is set to go up for auction once again this morning. Sale of the 350,000 square foot property that once was the mall has been postponed 3 times. Documents show a notice of default was issued to developers who stopped payments on a $7.5 million loan for a redevelopment project earlier this year. The property is now set to be auctioned on the steps of City Hall at 10 o'clock this morning, and we will be there and bring you an update on the auction today on the news at noon.
Welcome back in your 17 Business Watch. The problems continue for Boeing. The company now says some of its 737 planes, including many of the grounded aircrafts, could have faulty parts on their wings. Boeing says it reached out to airlines that fly 737 planes and advised them to inspect the slat track assemblies on certain planes. Leading edge slats are an aerodynamic control surface that extend from the front of the wing. Boeing and the FAA say some of the tracks may not meet manufacturing standards and may need to be replaced. The faulty parts could crack or fail prematurely, and the FAA says a failure wouldn't bring a plane down but could seriously damage the plane while in flight. All of this comes as Boeing works to get its 737 MAX planes back in the air after they were grounded following 2 crashes. All eyes in the tech world will be on Apple today to see what the company announces at its annual Worldwide Developers Conference. The multi-day event is usually used to unveil new versions of the iOS operating system. Some tech experts are predicting the newest version of the software will include a dark mode to make the screen easier to see in low light. Bloomberg is reporting Apple is going to finally kill its 18-year-old iTunes platform. The company has already created separate apps for music and video content. The Apple Watch is also rumored to be getting its own app store. Welcome back to 17 Sports Now. Chevron kicked off its annual soccer academy at CSUB this weekend. The goal is to provide free training to kids who are passionate about soccer. 450 kids from across the county participated, and they were in for a big surprise. A couple of former professional footballers showed up, including Brandi Chastain from the U.S. national team. That's a big deal. The Academy heads to Monterey in July and Fresno in September. The Women's World Cup airs on Telemundo, our sister station, starting Friday. U.S. will play its first match against Thailand next Tuesday.
And Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals is happening tonight. The Bruins are taking on the Blues in St. Louis. Boston leads the series 2-1 heading into the game tonight. And you can watch the puck drop at 5 p.m. right here on TV 17. And that means that we will have a special edition of 17 News tonight at 8 o'clock following the game. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup playoffs is at 5 p.m. right here on KGET.
Thanks for listening to the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's a 15-minute summary of everything you need to know about Kern County. There's a new episode every weekday.